The Delux M800 Ultra is a mouse that has surpassed all of my expectations with ease. The clicks, for example, are nice and tactile, and on top of that they are easy to actuate. There is quite a bit of pre-travel if you click the buttons all the way from the front, but for me with this mouse a natural position is a little bit further back. The side buttons are nice and tactile, but there is some post-travel if you use a lot of force, and the scroll wheel has very nice and defined steps. The internals are also impressive, as the mouse has the Nordic MCU and the 3395 from PixArt. And on my system there are no issues with polling stability or lost packets, and the motion latency is around 0.5 milliseconds. Which is very good, and so is the click latency, as it is about 1.77 milliseconds. And this is even with 2 millisecond debound setting, which is lowest that you can set in the drivers. And if you actually could use that 0 millisecond debound setting, the click latency might be very close to Asus ROG mice, for example. The mouse even has slam click prevention, so when you lift the mouse there is an insane increase in debounds. This pretty much solves the issue, but for some reason the debounds is only increased for the first click. So if it so happens that you lift the mouse and you click the mouse while you lift it and then slam the mouse, then you get those slam clicks. This is pretty much an edge case of an edge case though, so I consider slam click to have been solved. There is one more thing with the clicks, and that is that there is quite a bit of variation and standard deviation with the click latency results. This is also not a major issue by any means, but it's not normal, so it's something that the solution provider should take a look at. It's still one of the best performing budget mice that we have, and I do not consider these as real negative aspects, but a thing that I for sure do consider as a negative aspect is the mouse feet. The feet are similar with many other cheaper mice, and these do not work very well with rougher surfaces like the Artisan high-end, for example. The second thing that I do not like about the M800 Ultra is the coating or the lack of it, because this feels very plasticky and cheap for me. Not grippy at all for me, and I'm basically forced to use these grips that came with the mouse, and these are not the best quality but feel much better than the plastic itself. One more important thing to talk about is of course the shape, but it's very subjective, so I won't call it out as a negative or a positive aspect, but in my opinion it's actually very good. It's in between of the Razer Viper V2 Pro and the Razer Viper Mini, making it very comfortable for me with my 19x10cm hands and claw grip. I would actually even go as far as to say that this is more comfortable for me than either the Viper V2 Pro or the Viper Mini. The shape is quite versatile, as you can pull off an aggressive claw, relaxed claw, and you can even fingertip grip the mouse quite well. And for those of you who have smaller hands, you can also palm grip the mouse. The shape is pretty obviously Razer Viper inspired, but it's not just the shape that they've sort of cloned, as most of the design aspects remind you quite a lot of the Viper V2 Pro. Even the 4K dongle that I do not have at the moment reminds you quite a lot of the Razer Hyperpolling dongle. But as it turns out, being inspired by Razer is definitely not a bad thing when we look at the Delux M800 Ultra. The mouse being $65 on MechKeys and €70 on AliExpress for us Europeans makes it definitely very good value for money, and even such things as quality is very good on my unit. There is no rattle, no side flex, but keep in mind that with these budget brands, unit-to-unit variance can be quite high. The only things making this feel cheaper is the plasticky coating and the little pre and post travel on the front edge of the buttons, which does not bother me again as I click them from the back. There is also a little bit of side play, but nothing that would happen at all in game, so I do not consider that a problem. But yeah, a very good mouse for the price especially. It's a huge positive surprise for me, but one thing that's not surprising at all for me is the mouse that I'm reviewing next week. It will be my main mouse, and it's one of the best mice ever made for sure. I can't say the model or the brand yet, but next week you will find out. I hope you enjoyed the video, have a great day and see you in the next one.